The story begins. I always hoped it was just fatigue, that perhaps yesterday was just an unusual day. But this incident is still fresh in my mind, as I had just completed a Round Island trip yesterday. The journey spanned a total of 131 kilometers, taking 23 hours and 9 minutes. The event occurred on Provincial Highway 3, sometime after 4 o'clock in the morning. Let's first examine the physical records. The dashcam typically records in 5-minute segments, unless space runs out. Apart from the gap where I went home to rest before heading out again, the gap between segments 1574 and 1575 happened while driving, yet there's a 10-minute gap. I had intentionally pressed the emergency recording button, which would copy that segment to the emergency folder. As you can see, something unusual occurred. The road conditions ahead were somewhat like this. A thick fog suddenly appeared, but it felt darker, more like smoke from factory exhaust rather than the usual white mist of water vapor. The fog was so thick that even with the fog lights on, I couldn't see the road ahead. For safety, I decided to stop and wait, unfamiliar with the road and unwilling to drive blindly. Everyone knows that mountain roads have road signs, right? They typically look like this. I waited for the fog to thin a little, and at that moment, the car clock read 3:50. Despite seeing the road, I still dared not drive. The road signs I saw were like this. They had turned red, and the directions seemed all wrong. How could I possibly drive in such conditions? The GPS? It had frozen entirely since the fog began. I was listening to a VOD of a program on YouTube, but the phone rebooted and got stuck on the startup screen. Then, the frozen GPS suddenly spoke, with the same voice as when it was functioning normally. The minimum speed limit on this road is 120 kilometers per hour. Please increase your speed. Let's not even discuss the rationality of a 120 minimum limit. On the winding mountain roads of Highway 3, driving 120 would turn anyone into a banana. So I continued to wait, hoping things would return to normal. In such conditions, it's impossible to force your way through. The car clock showed 3:49, then 3:48, then 3:47. Time was running backward, and I knew this was a terrible sign. I had read similar stories before, where time reversing to a certain point could lead to something terrifying. Then I remembered a chant someone taught me, Lin, Bing, Do, Jie, Zhen, Lie, Qian, Xing. Desperate times called for desperate measures, so I chanted it. Suddenly, the fog thickened again, though not as impenetrable as before. I saw flashing lights in the distance, like those on a police car. A silhouette of a vehicle with flashing police lights seemed to stop beside me. Yes, I said silhouette because I couldn't make out any color on the vehicle's body, just a shadow. After a moment, the police car started moving again and drove straight ahead, gradually disappearing into the distance. Then, the fog dissipated, and everything looked normal again. The frozen devices came back to life, and the phone resumed playing as if nothing had happened. The car clock now read 4:05. There was a 5-minute blank in what I experienced and what the physical records showed. Even more bizarre, the dashcam recordings before and after this period didn't connect seamlessly. It was as if something had forcibly cut out the middle part. In conclusion, I can't explain what happened, but I know I need to visit a temple for some peace of mind. The story ends. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mr. Macabre for more twisted tales that keep the darkness alive.